Hi, everybody. So, with the recent election, news being all kinds of messed up, and with President Trump constantly trying to undermine the results of the election, I thought it was I thought it was best that we clear up any misconceptions that people might have, particularly Trump supporters and their ideology that Trump can somehow still sue his way to victory in the 2020 election. As you all know, the 2020 election was hugely close, with more people voting by mail than ever before in history. This which resulted in a sort of red mirage situation, where the states that appeared to be red, like Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, New York, Wisconsin, huge states that both candidates needed, appeared to go towards Trump. But that was because in-person ballots cast on the day of the election were counted first. Mail-in ballots were counted last. This is where it gets interesting, because this also happened during the Bush versus Al Gore situation, which will be discussed later on. But right now, President Trump is insisting that there has been widespread voter fraud in every single one of these states that he lost, like Georgia, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. And his campaign has spent millions of dollars in suing and lawsuits alleging voter fraud, all of which have been rejected due to lack of evidence. Voter fraud is also extremely rare. There have only been like 0.2 cases, 0.2% of all ballots are voter fraud. And Trump is alleging that the Democrats had cast thousands and thousands and thousands of ballots illegally, which is just not the case. The case is that more than 79 million Americans voted for Joe Biden over the 71 million that voted for Trump. Joe Biden won the popular vote by about 8 million. In the swing states, like in Michigan and Pennsylvania, Joe Biden leads Trump by around 60K, and in Michigan, Biden leads by about 40K, which is 4 times the amount that Trump had compared to Hillary in 2016. And the Trump campaign is constantly citing Bush versus Al Gore. But Bush versus Al Gore wasn't exactly as simple as just the Supreme Court deciding whoever gets the presidency. The Supreme Court only got involved because there were massive cases of hanging chads in ballots, in which hole punches used to be used in casting ballots. So these hole punches, when not used correctly or punched correctly, it wouldn't be punched fully, thus resulting in a hanging chad situation. And there was a lot of confusion whether or not those votes should be counted or not. And the Bush versus Al Gore campaign, the election was very, very, very close. It all came down to one state, and that was Florida. And Florida, Bush led Al Gore by 500 votes. 500 votes. And in the Al Gore campaign kept insisting for recounts in the state of Florida, which they were legally allowed to do. In this case, the Trump campaign's alleged voter fraud has zero merit and will likely not see the Supreme Court due to them being unable to prove that their allegations of voter fraud are true. Because in these states where the Trump campaign has demanded recounts, there has been a wide margin compared to the Hillary versus Trump election in 2016 and Bush versus Al Gore in 2020. This time, these states are led by 60K, 40K, and Georgia, which has turned blue for the first time since 1992. Biden has a 40K lead in Georgia, which, as you all know, because of the winner-takes-all system in which whoever gets wins the popular vote in the state gets all the electoral votes, Georgia went blue for Biden. This did not sit well with the Trump campaign, and the Trump campaign has once again alleged voter fraud in Georgia. And 2 days ago, the recount was complete, and they found that Biden still held up his lead. So at this point in time in history, in mid-November, November 20th, 2020, the Trump campaign is fighting an uphill battle at this point. Their refusal to admit to their refusal to concede is a slap in the face to American democracy, and just goes to show the lengths that the current sitting president will go to win the White House, regardless of whether or not he won it fair and square. And the Biden team has been unable to actually begin transition due to the Trump campaign being unable to cooperate for whatever reason with the Biden campaign. So, in conclusion, the Trump campaign's efforts are fruitless. There is no chance that Trump can ever win back the White House unless he runs again in 2024. Now what happens in 2024? Nobody knows. Is Joe Biden going to be worse than Trump? We don't know. But what we do know is that the Trump campaign's efforts to undermine the results of the election borderlines on fascism and should not be tolerated in any level of court in America, and is essentially a slap in the face to all of those voters who cast their votes, many of them for the first time this year. And as a result, it's just fruitless, it's pointless, and it's quite sad, honestly, the effort that the Trump campaign is going through just because they refuse to lose. Thank you.